Warning and disclaimer. The views and opinions expressed on this live feed are those of the guests, speakers, and or hosts, and do not necessarily reflect the beliefs, official policies, ethics, or positions of the content providers, advertisers, additional hosts, and or guests, hosting sites, groups, or entities attached to this programming. Viewer discretion is advised. Welcome to Backer Pause. What is Backer Pause? Stop. It's time for some new shit. It's time to evolve. Welcome to Backer Pause, where creators bravely put up their projects to be judged by others to see if their title, their description, their image, and their video can get through the experience of Backer Pause. What is Backer Pause? Backer Pause is when you suddenly find a reason that you might not pause or you've lost interest in a project. So join us as these campaigns are put through the ringer of the Backer Pause jury and judges. Tune in and tell us if you experience Backer Pause in the comments. Brought to you by comicbookadvocates.com, where the love of comics come first, and hosted by Mr. Anderson, the comics writer who creates stories that travel the realms of fetish monsters and more, and the more is ever expanding. Hello, everybody, and welcome to what is the final Backer Pause of this year. And as you heard, we're going to be evolving the show itself. We're going to go into that. We're going to do a Dickens thing, past, present, future. So let's just really quickly, before I bring on the guests, talk about some of the past. And here are some notes about where we have been. So we began advocating for Kickstarters via videos back in 2016. In 2017, this show was born as Kickstarter Talk. And then in 2018, we changed the format and became Kickstarter Pause. And I'm going to bring Chuck in to talk about that in just a few minutes, because he was with me when the concept came to life and is now named Backer Pause. In 2022, we will enter 5 years of advocating for creators and their projects on Kickstarter and Indiegogo, though it's rare. And we're going to go over changes to Indiegogo in the program today as well. In early 2022, we will film our 200th episode. If we haven't already, because honestly, I don't count the episodes, but that just for an idea of how many hours we've actually done it. We've advocated for Kickstarters for 220 hours of advocating, yet every show has been new due to the campaigns and the guests. This is 9.1667 days of Kickstarter advocacy. We have been credited with changing how creators approach crowdfunding, and we are just getting started. And this is the moment where I want to bring Chuck into, because he was there when we came up with the concept Backer Pause. It was right there in this time of year, believe it or not, because I got to look it up last year. And speaking of looking up, Chuck, do you know that this is my 10th, next year will be my 10th straight year of releasing comic books? I have made a comic book for 10 years. The first 4 years. Because it was in 2016, I did the first, 17 was the first time I released a comic book on Kickstarter. But for 5 years before that, I was doing ash cans, I was doing other books, so 10 years of this. And I've known Chuck since this was Kickstarter Talk. And he knows the progression of how this show has changed the way we looked at videos. Originally on Kickstarter Talk, we talked about the entire thing. It was a very long and boring show. One night, and I'll let Chuck tell you how he felt about it. One night we were recording another Kickstarter Talk, and we were just playing around. We were a bit goofy, and we started pointing out all the mistakes, and especially in the videos. And we'd realized at the time that the videos were horrible being put out by creators. They were really, really bad. So I'll let Chuck kind of explain a little bit about that.
I think it was you who said, do you want a Mystery Science Theater, the videos? And I was like, yeah, I do, because some of these are so bad. And so we kind of just started doing that, but we were never like trying to be cruel or mean. It was just, somebody needs to talk to these people about these videos because they're junk. And it started there. And I think what just came out of us just being fucking bored turned into us genuinely going, hey, we could actually educate you. by being able to say, man, this is where you lost me. This is what's going on. And that's where the pause happened.
Absolutely. And, this has been an experience, and I'm going to bring on our other guests. Every one of these guests has been on this show, whether their project was or they've been on as a judge. And it's been an amazing journey. And we're going to bring on Ben, who does Shark of War, Danny J. Quick, the TikTok star, and Mike Seeley, the Eclipse and Continuum founder, but he's my partner in Continuum Comics. So I wanted to, before we go into the future about it, I just wanted every one of you guys to just kind of talk for a minute about crowdfunding. Like, how do you feel crowdfunding is going to be? We're at the last show of Backer Pause. We're going into 2022. Crowdfunding changed comics, and it has definitely been able to empower me as a creator to continue to create. How do you guys feel about crowdfunding? Because to me, it's an amazing thing, but it has to be watched and monitored. It's constantly changing. Recently, Kickstarter talked about the fact that they are going to accept crypto coin. Welcome to the new reality. Kickstarter is going to be accepting crypto coin, and I even found that I don't even understand it right now, to be honest with you, gentlemen. I don't know what that means, but I can also tell you that this is, whatever it is, this is pissing people off or it's making people happier. Indiegogo is officially switching gears to more closely screen crowdfunding campaigns. So the Wild West of Indiegogo is now officially going to be over, and there is going to be accountability on Indiegogo. So we're going to see that change in 2022. So take out your crystal balls. What do you guys think is going to happen in 2022? And when it's your turn, please introduce yourself to the audience, because believe it or not, some people don't know us. I don't know how it's possible, but there might be people out there who haven't known, especially on Danny. Like, he's TikTok famous, so I'm sure everyone in the world knows him. So go ahead, Chuck, you're up first.
Yeah, man, sorry, I had to make sure my my mic was on. Yeah, what's up, guys? I'm Chuck Pino, Pineau. I am a editor and comic writer, publisher, all that kind of great stuff. I also have my own interview show and do all that kind of stuff too. So just like to have a good time with comics. As far as the evolution of Kickstarter and stuff, it's so funny. I don't tend to be the guy who's like necessarily looking forward and trying to go, where do I think they're gonna go? I'm the guy who's just trying to ride the waves. Like, what am I gonna do next, and just kind of try to listen up. As far as them accepting cryptocurrency, look, as long as they give me cash, I don't give a fuck. Like, I'm totally okay with it. But at the end of the day, I'm not interested in that. I need green to make my books, and so I'm fine with that. Yeah, man, I think the fact that they're willing to work harder, especially with Indiegogo, willing to work harder to try to make sure that people get their stuff done and that they're held accountable and whatnot. That's terrific. That's great news, and I think that bodes well for the Kickstarter and the crowdfunding community as a whole. So I kind of see good things ahead. It might be harder for some people to make comics, but or at least to crowdfund, and that will be because of things that they might have done wrong or to prevent things from going wrong. So I think it's all good in the hood.
And Ben, who makes Shark of War, who's done inventive things throughout the last couple of years, how is your experience with crowdfunding? Introduce yourself and tell us what you see in the future, if anything.
Hey, thanks. My name is Ben Lacey. I'm just successfully put out my 4th issue of Shark of War. All 4 issues were crowdfunded through Kickstarter. You can see issue 1 at bitingcomics.com there on the screen. I think I've seen some small, modest, steady growth in my campaigns. So that's good from a personal level. I think most of the changes that are getting discussed those of us on the ground won't see much effect from them. Anything that makes people more likely to come to the crowdfunding and trust in it and realize they're going to get their stuff and it's not fly by night is in the long term beneficial. I can't see cryptocurrency having an immediate effect on my backers one way or the other. I doubt any of them use cryptocurrency, maybe 1 or 2. So so I assume this is going to be for the long term for Kickstarter's plans for future growth and expansion, maybe. But yeah, that's the main thing. Is I think it's been steady. I hope it stays steady next year when I come out with my 5th issue in a few months.
Sorry, the mute wouldn't unmute. I want to introduce someone who won't take credit for this, but I'm going to give him credit for it because it's the only time I've ever heard it. Mike Seeley is such a passionate creator that when faced with what we're just going to call sabotage and not go into it, he went out of pocket to make sure every person who backed the first campaign he was part of got their books, which generally means that Mike Seeley helped kickstart something for Continuum Comics, would not quit. He was the driving force of, we are going to make this happen because I made promises already. Went out of pocket. A couple of us in Continuum went out of pocket with him, but he was the lion's share of it, the guy driving the force. And this year, it became very clear as people were refunded, and they were refunded from our first campaign. So they got the books for free. I've never heard anyone's commitment to that. He knew that when we went into it. He knew the possibility was that more than likely we were going to have to go to pocket, and he did it anyway. So I wanted to give that shout out to how much he's committed to his fan and the fan base and making sure he delivers on what he promises. I've never heard anyone do it. There are scummy people in this world that we talk about, we complain about. We don't talk enough about guys like him who step up, who take the hit, and who make sure that the fans are. We always hear bad stories. Marcel Dupree, perfect example of a bad person who is not delivered. This guy delivered out of his own pocket, made sure it happened. Mike Seeley, been definitely a weird year for you, your first year of crowdfunding, but like, what do you see as a rookie in the room, believe it or not?
First off, I want to just say, I just want to create comics is the bottom line. And I want people to have that joy that they had for comics when they were a kid, whether it was a Spider-Man comic or as somebody can say, oh, it was X-Men for me. It was Spider-Man for me. So I just kind of want to get back to that joy of creating comics. And so that's why when I finally, at being a kind of a rookie, like I've done creative stuff with some Marvel projects and some Star Wars projects, but doing something that's personal and for me is different. And I kind of really wanted to make this happen. So just to touch on that, I'm very happy that everybody got to see my first 6 pages of my story and another 6 pages of a story that I did. And so it springboarded into my full book, which I was successfully funded. And I'm happy about that. And we're just working on some editing stuff and excited to get that next book out. And that's Eclipse. And I'm like really excited about it. But as far as crowdfunding, we did 3 crowdfunding programs this year, and all of them were successful. And I'm absolutely ecstatic about that. And it just makes me excited about going in because I've backed a lot of Kickstarters in the past. I've had really good success on Kickstarter, not as much good success of getting my stuff from Indiegogo. So hearing that information about Indiegogo, I think is a good thing because if it's tightening up the ship, not that I have gotten stuff from Indiegogo, but the fact that they understand that there's some things that get slipped up in the middle that they're trying to make it so everybody can be successful in the long run if they know they're accountable.
Just mention what you created. You didn't drop the name of your character, who you created, Mike. Unless Mike froze. Did you freeze?
Oh, Eclipse.
Oh,
yeah, froze up.
All right. Yeah. So, and of course, Danny J. Quick, who I probably know the longest in this room, even known him longer than I've known Chuck. We go back. We've shared tables. We've been around, and I've watched him grow. It was funny. I always say this. I was on TikTok, and I think I was there before Danny, or we went at the same time. When I first went there, they hated me. I was too old. I was the old guy. So I stepped back, but I watched Danny for 2 years grind. And the minute I saw him start taking off, I was like, good. First guy's in. Let's all go. Danny, tell them who you are and what you do.
What's up, everybody? My name is Danny J. Quick. I'm the co-creator of Ace Blade and King Supreme. And like Mr. Anderson said, you know, we've known each other for a while. He actually gave me my first panel at a show down in Raleigh. He was nice enough. Rob was nice enough to let me join him on a panel, and you know, I caught the bug there, and I've been trying to get back on ever since. So, you know, as far as crowdfunding goes, you know, I jumped in early like everybody. I think my first foray was Ace Blade comic, and I was all bright-eyed and bushy-tailed about it. I thought it was going to be easy, and it was not. We had covers by Neil Adams and Joe Staten on our first book, and I was like, oh, this is going to be great. You know, we raised almost $3,000, but it took me almost 2 years to get the books out to people because I hadn't made a page. I hadn't done anything but get some pinups and some covers. And you know, comic making isn't as easy as you would assume it is. So but during that time I just tried to keep people updated and keep people engaged. And I found out that, you know, since I can't be everywhere all the time, that social media is gonna have to do that for me. So, you know, just using the different platforms to reach out to new people and keep in contact with the people who've been supporting us. And I refused to I always tell people my kids, I have 4 kids, and I missed the wave when Twitch came along because they were always on Twitch watching people play video games. So that's my oldest daughter and my son. They were always watching people playing video games, and I didn't understand it. I was like, why watch people play games when you can play games yourself? I don't get it. So I never got on Twitch, even though I knew I could have used it for myself, but I just didn't understand the platform. So when they were doing the same thing with TikTok, my 3 children then, they were all on TikTok doing the dances. They knew whatever. And I was like, I refuse to miss the boat this time. So I knew I had to get on TikTok and at least, you know, try something. So, you know, I just got on there and was trying to be consistent, put content out, doing some of the trends, you know, stuff that could apply to Ace Blade in our business. And, you know, thankfully it worked out for me.
All right. Now, as most of you know, Backer Paws, because you guys have been on it, you've seen it, you've been part of it. Backer Paws really focused on videos. Over the last year, though, especially when we ran into videos that were bad, we would stop and most of you have been around when I've done this. I go look at the campaign. Like if we saw really good art, if I saw something potentially good, we would stop and go look at the actual page. And this year I was amazed at how bad people have gotten at doing the basic stuff, how they don't give a good title. They don't give a good description, and their main picture has been horrible. So starting officially now, but really when we come back after the holiday break, we're adding to it title and pitches, preview image, and video. Now, to make it more interesting, the judge, if they do not like the title and pitch and they don't like the preview image, we will never get to see the video. So there's actually a bit of a stake there. So if you, because I mean, think about it. Every time that we show off a Kickstarter, and you guys saw it, everyone in the room actually had something in the credits today. If you guys watched that first B-roll when we introduced the new one, every one of you made that. And that wasn't even on purpose that I invited you on the show, because I invited other people last minute, just as like, let's see who's around. Let's just get together and have an old-fashioned talk about this. So normally when we're doing a show like this, we show up the banner, which is, let me see an overlay. Here we go. I got an overlay for, let's see, Lilith. So here we go. This is from Jason Dube. Let's just look at this image. And this is not trying to hate on anyone, but I want you guys to be honest because, you know, Jason's a friend of mine and he's successfully funded. And sometimes, you know, like I've always said on this show, some people can successfully fund without this show, and that's great. But some people need shows. They need that thing, that extra push. And if they don't have it, they kind of miss out. So what do you guys see here on this that right away that jumps out at you, besides the obvious image of the young lady, which is a good marketing image? But is there anything else that you guys notice on this particular one? Because I had said this in a video, and I want to see if you guys see it too.
Well, I mean, first off, why do you have the Kickstarter thing on? I mean, you're already on Kickstarter. Why does that need to take up any real estate whatsoever?
I think it's strategically placed there for that reason.
It's covering something.
Well, the Kickstarter rules now are that you, or not rules, recommendations are that you don't have any text on the image at all. So the whole Lilith and Mara, Sisters of the Dark, and the 1,400% funded, by their advice, you wouldn't have any of that. Now, I could see an argument for having the 1,400% funded because it kind of gives you, social proof, but the Lilith and Mara is going to be in the title anyway, so you don't really need that on your image.
Yeah, I think there's definitely a crowd on Kickstarter who loves this kind of stuff, and it gets funded, and they love it, and I'm all for it. They like I said, I think you don't need the title because it's right there on the bottom. Any link that you put up is going to have the title. That like Ben said, that 1,400% funded is always another. Just another level for you. Like if you're 1,400%, hey, that's dope. You killing the game. So that also intrigues people to to continue to click. But that Kickstarter thing down in the corner definitely draws your eyes down there for you to want to see what else is down there. So yeah.
I personally, I'm not a big fan, and I've said it before, and I know that sometimes I'm wrong about this one. The 1,400% funded thing, I get that it's social proof. I understand that. For me, though, it says nothing. You know what I mean? Like to me,
it's a flex.
It is a flex.
Yeah.
I'm not the type of person that would do that kind of flex. I see the art is good. And I know people love manga or anime right now, and it's got the look of manga and anime, so it draws you in that sense. But like the extra words and the Kickstarter thing, I question mark it. But when you said that about the Kickstarter market maybe covering something that makes it a little more PG.
Cover it with something else.
I actually don't think the Kickstarter thing is actually covering anything.
Yeah, I agree. I think
No.
I think the thing is uncovered slightly to the side.
I'm just saying that I see a lot of I have experience with this type of an anime, and we'll leave it there. Here are the things that I see when I do this, because remember, this is what people see on social media. When you're sharing this, forget the top where I wrote things. This is what people see. This section right here, just the Lilith part and what's beneath it. So right away, I see Lilith in the name and the sisters, which I have a spot down here for the same thing. And they call it a comic book. Do you really need to call it a comic book? I don't understand why you would call it a comic book. That's just a personal thing. 1,400, that's not going to inspire anyone. You're crowdfunding. You're looking for a new audience. That's going to make people think, oh, cool, you don't need me really. I'll get it when it's at the comic book shop and it's cheaper. I'll get it when it's off Kick. You are ending an ability to have a conversation with a potential new backer. The Kickstarter thing, that could come and go because you might want to advertise you're on Kickstarter if this winds up on Twitter. I could see that, but again, it says Kickstarter right here, so you don't really need it because it says it in the description. So now you have this line that you can put a title. He went with Lilith and Maria comic book instead of Lilith and Maria Sisters of the Dark. That would have been so much better in that first line. That second line, that's your quick elevator pitch. So here's the quick elevator pitch. The first vampire and succubus sisters. Well, first off, I know people like Mike don't even know what a succubus is. His mind got blown this year when he found out about it. So he didn't know what a succubus was. He would have been like, so it's
2
like
months ago. Less than 2 months ago. I never heard of it. I didn't know.
And I'm not trying to pick on this guy because obviously he didn't need this show. But a lot of people who show up to this show want to learn. And I've literally seen the numbers on some of these backer pauses go to the thousands. As a matter of fact, here's a good time to as the kids say, do a flex, but also a warning. Chuck knows this. We actually had our literal YouTube channel actually suspended for 6 months. And why do you ask was it? Because of things like this. This is a list of this year's show. These are all the copyright claims I've gotten for this year alone. This is all this year. Luckily, these copyright claims were not community strikes. They did not affect the channel. It just meant that I couldn't monetize. But literally because creators are using songs, and these are things that pass Shazam. Because I know every time someone submits something, I have to Shazam the song that they're using to make sure it's not a blatant copyright. And people are still doing it, but it's rarer. But this is how often it happens. That's why I stress it, because we had our channel taken away. But despite that, some good news this year. We had 27,000 views this year on our YouTube channel. We had that was pretty good. We've gained 99 subscribers, and Chuckle knows that we actually had 500 subscribers, if not more. I forgot the actual number.
Yeah, I don't remember the number.
And they stripped every one of our subscribers from us. They shut the channel down for 6 months. They took down videos that we had that are gone forever. So this has been an interesting journey just to get it back up here. So you have to be very mindful about the things you're putting out there, especially when you're crowdfunding. So with that in mind, with the new idea of it, you guys want to play for the first time the more advanced Kickstarter, a backer pause game that it is for the first Kickstarter. So let's check it out. So this we're going to go with, here we go. I just screenshotted this. So this is Evan. He presents Murder City. So in his title, Murder City Devil. Okay, that's sometimes a title can get you, and there's no doubt about that. Cat Dad and Supermom, people are curious about it. I know Shark of War, Ben's got one. Ace Blade sounds cool. So if you have a cool title, Eclipse, same thing. And with Eclipse, we did the Hawaiian Protector, and we'll see that a little later, because I'll show some of my stuff off here as well, just so you guys can. So I let everyone pick on it. Then we have the legendary Boogeyman. Spring Heel Jack is resurrected in the 21st century to wreak havoc on Murder City's criminal underworld. Now, I don't know who the legendary Spring Heel Jack is. I don't know if this is a what do they call it? The properties you can use.
Public domain.
Public domain. I don't know if this was a public domain character, but this, just the sound of it. What do you guys think? Just the title and the description. Is this something that you'd be like, okay, that's kind of cool? Or do you think they made a mistake somewhere?
I like
Spring Heel makes me think of one of those heroes with springs on their boots, and I was like wondering, is he got like springs that he bounces around with? That's the only thing that really bothers me. Otherwise it's not, incredibly exciting, but it sounds perfectly, serviceable. Like I said, the Spring Heel kind of throws me a little bit.
You know what, though? I think it's supposed to, like, he's a legendary hero, Spring Heel Jack. He should have kind of a lame-ass superhero name, because that was the thing, right? But, I mean, he's back in the 21st century. I mean, look at that image and stuff. I think that a lot of that...
We didn't ask about the image. I like the image.
That's true, yeah.
So it actually turns out, really quick, just to answer that question about it being kind of lame, the name wasn't his. It is actually, I believe, a public domain. Check it out. Spring Heel Jack is an entity in English folklore of the Victorian era. The first claimed sighting of Spring Heel Jack was in 1837. Later sightings were reported all over the United Kingdom and were especially prevalent in suburban London, the Midlands, and Scotland. So he might have been a real-time vigilante, or he could have just been fictional. Well, look, we learned something on this show, so that this all came from Spring Heel.
We've already won. We've already won.
But no, this is important, because we stopped and looked.
Yeah.
That became a thing to actually examine. He won. He had us invested enough to actually now look up something and learn something because of something. To me, that's a win. What do you think, Danny?
I absolutely agree. I'm definitely clicking on that, and I also did the same thing that you did. I looked up Spring Heel Jack because I never heard of it before, but I was like, it has to be something somewhere, and it's already got a YouTube series, a TV show preview. So that that makes me want to do more research. So for people who like me who actually read comics, it's something I would absolutely look into. So yeah, this is a win for me.
Mike, anything to add?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're good.
All right. Yeah. That's actually good information about Spring Heel Jack. Legendary Boogeyman. Everybody knows the Boogeyman, so I guess he is legendary because everybody had the Boogeyman underneath their bed. So that's catching. The art is dynamic, so I can say that.
And so obviously that was enough. Like, he nailed it, and I didn't do this on purpose. I left this open. I wanted the group to see, but see, this was a good example. And I'm going to say this now, and I don't know if it's going to come up again in the show. Unless you are so well known or you have a fan base that is just enormous, putting your name in the title section, I don't think adds value to anything. I put up in the Twitter feed as a respecting to creators who created it because it's coming off Backer Paw's Twitter. So that's my choice. But I think when you put your name in the title, it's not very marketable unless you have become a household name or at least an industry name for us. Someone like who resonates right away. What do you guys think about that?
I think the worst thing that you could do is say, like, this person presents, and someone goes, who? Who's that? Immediately they're like, should I know this person? Because I don't at all. So, there could definitely be some negative connotations. And to me, as someone who's in the industry and whatnot, I feel like it's an ego move, man. You don't fucking matter. The book is what matters. Sorry. And are we limiting ourselves on swearing? Because you know me.
No, remember that whole begin warning?
Okay, perfect. Yeah, that's made for potty mouths like me. So, yeah, just like me personally, when I look at that stuff, I think that's an ego thing, and it should really be about the book and way less about you. There's a credits page for you.
Was that in the title, or where did that Evan inquiring come
That's
from?
Me.
You added that. Okay.
It's because of the Backer Paws itself. I wanted people to know. Usually you promote your own thing, but not everyone's on Twitter because Twitter kind of is Twitter, and some people stay away from Twitter. So when I put this
cesspool.
Yeah. So when I try to put it out, I put the creators
Chuck, you got a cold?
There so people can know.
I think that makes sense for a page like yours, Rob, where you have all kinds of other people. You're literally showing off other people's stuff, so it does make sense for you to say, this project is by this person. But for like Chuck said, if I were to do it, it's just too much. It doesn't make sense for me.
All you'd have to do is TikTok legend, and they'd know who you were talking to.
No.
Danny J. Quick presents Ace Blade, and I'd be like, dude, get the fuck out of here. I love you, man, but just show off the book.
I'm doing it on the next Kickstarter just for you, Chuck.
And I'll still back it.
I do want to stress this right now, and this is something not enough people are doing. You can literally change the title of your campaign as often as you want while you are live. Not many people take advantage of this. You can change your image. Not many people take advantage of it. You can change your literal description. This is a great way to not look like you're spamming people because you are literally giving them something new with that same link that you've shared over and over again, but it gives it second life. Far too many people get stuck on not doing anything and doing the least amount they can do. And just as a personal thing, and you guys can disagree with me on this, but if you're charging people for a signature, you've lost me as a backer, and I won't get your book. Real talk, I don't even pay for signatures for the pros. If a pro has a signing, I don't go. The only people I go are to the legends. I'll pay for a Neil Adams one. That's a respect thing. If you are someone who is a titan in the industry, I'll pay the money as a due because you have done something that has allowed me to do what I love. So I will pay for your signature. But if you're charging someone for your signature, I'm so turned off that I'm actually going to go read a book. That's how bad you've turned me. I won't even read a comic book. I'll go read a novel for a day. I'll hate it. I'll come back the next day to comic books. But go ahead, Ben.
I don't charge for my signature, but I can see two cases where if I'd have to be bigger to do it. One is people, if you have a big enough campaign that you're using, you're having your printer fulfill for you. That means if you're going to sign the book, that means they have to ship the books to you, then you have to sign them and then ship them back to them. So that does add cost to you.
That's fan service. They're also overpaying for your books on Kickstarter. Not one of us is charging table prices on our Kickstarter. No one. Very rare people do table pricing on their Kickstarters. I know there's a few, but
I try to come close, but I don't.
But what's a big project? 276 people? Because I give credit to Travis Gibb. He had everyone come together in Florida to sign the books for the Cthulhu Invades Oz that could.
And,
He
and
made it
that's-
happen, and it's possible. That just sounds, no offense, Ben, that sounds like an excuse to me. Oh, I'm just too busy to do my fans. The Kickstarter is supposed
No, I don't think it's too
No.
busy. I think it's added cost. The shipping is
Yeah.
expensive. I mean, that's my biggest non-printing cost is shipping. So if I have to
Yeah.
ship twice, I'm adding a lot of cost. Similarly, if my artist is in, say, Brazil, having him sign the book means I have to ship the book to Brazil, and he has to ship it back to me.
Yeah, but you'll never make that affordable. You'll never make that one affordable, Ben. That's literally something that I could see you making an ultimate package. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the basic Kickstarter, and most people fulfill their own books. Is anyone?
Oh, I agree, but I mean, if you're getting up to I mean, you don't have to be a big star, but if you're doing 500 to people, you might well be having somebody else fulfill your books. I don't know if the guy who's the guy who does the hot devil witch woman projects on Kickstarter that fund about $100,000. I don't know if he charges for his stuff.
Brian Polito does not.
Oh, okay. I don't know if he charges. He doesn't charge for autographs.
But I don't think he offers it either.
Okay.
Fair. I think you don't have to offer it. And I even tell people, I'd rather people not get my signature through a Kickstarter and come find me on the road. I'd appreciate that more, being able to sign the book in the wild. And I always ask people, would you want it signed? And if people don't ask for it signed, like me and Michael do it as part of the thing if we're together, because we're fulfilling it. It's just smart. Give out your signature. I don't want to ever charge for my signature. I want to be so big that people demand my signature on the street. I don't want to be the guy who's like, that Dick Rob? He charged me $1 on his campaign because he thought he was going to be something. That's a quick way to get your fan base to turn against you.
Hey, if Will Smith ain't charging for signatures, I'm definitely not doing it.
Right. I do agree though with what Ben was saying, because there's companies, more and more companies, printing companies that are doing the fulfillment. Comics Wellspring is doing it. Fucking Kablam, of course, is doing it.
Comics Impressions.
Comics Impression, yeah. So there's a lot of these print companies. So then what I have to do is I have to get a bunch of them sent to me. I have to print them, and then I have to send them to you. So there is that added cost. I get that. That is one of the few times where I'm like, okay, but you got to explain that. Because if you're just like, oh yeah, it's gonna, because there is someone that I like and respect, and I will not mention their name because I like and respect them, and I don't like the move, who says it's extra time. Fuck your time. Sorry, man. Like, this is Kickstarter. No, personally, no one gives a shit. Just give a shit, sign them, and send them off. Now, for that reason, I don't like that. But when we're talking about the extra shipping costs, yeah, okay, I get that.
I got one for you, though. If shipping cost is a real concern, what I would do, like, let's say I went through one of these companies and I decided I was too big to actually ship my own books, or I gotten to a point where I felt it was too much for me to handle on my own, because that could be either avenue. I would actually sign specific letters to the backers who wanted signatures, and I would send that, because it's cheaper to send that, a stack of just original things. And in that letter, I'd say, find me during the road, and I'll do that. Kickstarter, I mean, stop me if I'm wrong, guys. These people are helping make our dreams come true. Brian Polito's putting out, like you said, 1,000 books. I don't think anyone expects him to sign those at that point. He's becoming a distributor at that point. But the only time I want to hear about someone else shipping out my book is Diamond. I want to have that personal touch because I want to be able to write the letter. Anyone who's ever gotten a book from me, you've seen it. I write letters in there. I give you a receipt of what you've actually ordered, and I sign that, and I sign the books. And if I got Mike around, I'll go to Mike. If I can run into other people, I get other people. But do I think it's necessary? No. I just don't want to ever charge anyone. The only time I've said it, I'll charge when it goes to charity. If I'm a big enough star that people would actually want to get my signature, the only time I charge for it is if I was doing it for charity, and that would make sense. But besides that, find me on the street. I'll sign anything. And that's happened outside of cons. Like the weirdest time I was, and Chuck was with me at this one. I don't know if he remembers this, but someone stopped me and we were walking out of MegaCon, and I was with a young lady, and I was like, I promise I'm not this kind of person that people recognize. No one cares about me on the street. But that happened like 4 times in 1 weekend, and she kept looking at me. And I'm like, I promise I'm not that guy. But I just sign it, like, I appreciate my fans. They have helped me live a childhood dream. Why would I ever take advantage of that? I don't know. It's a pet peeve of mine. Someone had said to me today, he was like, well, I'm giving them the opportunity to get something before I'm famous. I'm like, that's a quick way to stop your ass from becoming famous.
No.
You know, like you want $1 for your signature? Never mind. I don't want your book no more.
Yeah.
How's that?
At least I don't want it signed. You know, like I'll just be like, okay, cool. Give me, you know, if I really like the book, and I'll just say, cool. Give me the unsigned version, man. I'm not interested in paying.
Yeah,
for
I
it.
think most creators have that option. I mean, that do charge for signature. It's part of like the premium package. You get a signed version, but the base tier is the unsigned version. I mean, I don't do that because nobody's going to pay for my signature anyway. But I know some people who do that who are more successful than I.
Well,
they aren't superstars maybe, but they're definitely funding many more books than I am.
Fair enough. Now we're into so it passed. No pause. No one has experienced backer pause in this campaign so far. We like it.
Yep.
So here's that image. It's clean. There's no words. It's an action. Now, I don't think anyone mentioned this, but like action scenes are really what you should be putting in. Something that looks lively, something that has energy with it. Mike was very much involved with the Eclipse thing. He ran it. He chose all the art. The few times I chose art, he always went right behind me, and he's like, "I didn't like it. It wasn't flary enough. What was it? It wasn't bougie enough. What were the words you used?
Not bougie.
Not bougie.
I just wanted to pop. In my mind, I have to see it pop when I see something, and I do the same thing when I'm scrolling through Kickstarter. Check out somebody's comic book. If it don't pop, and it may be just like their cover art stuff, and it'll get me inside. And then I'll figure out what the story is and to see if it's something I would like. But I need it to pop. And if I feel like if I don't visually see my own stuff and make it pop, then it don't work for everybody else.
Yeah,
I set the standard.
Covers will sell a book, story will keep them, but on Kickstarter, on issue 1s, it's all about the cover art. And this is for lack of a better term on Kickstarter, here's your cover. And like you said, Mike, is this pop? Does this image pop?
Yeah, it comes at you. Yeah.
What do you think, Danny?
It's intrigues.
Absolutely. It's dark, it's ominous, and yeah, I'd check it out.
Ben?
Yeah, it's a nice image. It reminds me a little of what's that DC hero, the Blue Devil or something?
Yeah.
But black.
Blue Devil / Daredevil.
Now I know Chuck might be a little competitive here because he has Belial, and he's thinking like Link looks better. And because the whole devil thing, I get that. But putting that aside, Chuck, what do you think of the image?
No, I like the image. I like the contrast, the bright in the background, the dark in the foreground. I think they did a really good job. I think it works really well.
Okay, so they would have passed and have passed through. So now here we do a video. If you have headphones on right now, do yourself a favor, move them a little back. This one's a little loud.
Okay, I'll turn them down.
Yeah, all right, so here we go. You guys ready? Chuck, I see you. We're just going to see if anyone else taps out. All right, 2 out of 4 tap. That's enough to actually stop it. All right, what did you guys see? What did you think? How'd you feel?
What did we see?
Chuck, Chuck
did he? Like, it was taking too long, man. Get into it a little bit quicker.
Yeah, the pacing was way too slow.
Yeah, I like the art, but yeah.
If I usually I back a lot of Kickstarters, and usually if I click on your page, I already know that I'm going to back it. But if I were to watch that video, I may have reconsidered because it's just too slow to start. Like there's nothing up front. You gotta hook people. Every type of storytelling tells you to hook the audience first.
Yeah, I feel like they felt like they were trying to create suspense, and that's not suspense. That's like watching paint dry.
put more words in there to make us know something's coming. But like I was starting to get to the point. I know, maybe it's a little like whatever, ADD, but I was like, is anything gonna happen? How long is this gonna stretch out for? And I should never feel that way, especially 10 seconds into a video.
Yeah.
I'm all about the voiceover. Anyone who's watched this show knows
Yeah.
like it's not hard to do a voiceover.
Yeah.
Voiceovers sell it. And remember, you should be putting these videos on things like TikTok, like Reels if you have it on your thing. You can convert these videos to be other things. And like Danny said, if this is your first experience with it, that's it. I'm done. I tap out. I have back applause right away. I don't know what this. You're wasting my time. And our world's only getting faster. We're coming out of one of the worst stretches of being caught at home. Our attention spans. We want to be able to go back to having fun, going out, enjoying life. Do not waste my time. That's why back applause never has these many people in a room. Generally speaking, when we have a lot of campaigns, because I don't want to waste anyone's time. Tonight's special because I really wanted to get in the depth of this. I wanted to show off some great creators. But normally, we don't want to be a talking head program. We want it to be fast-paced, go, 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 go. And I think this really missed that. And you don't want to waste your backers' time. No. Do not waste your – like Danny said, this could turn him into a no. You never want to hear those words spoken out loud. Ben, you haven't said anything. What do you think?
No, I kind of agreed with everyone else. I like the art, and I thought the mood started to set well. The background siren in the back. There was nice touches there. But it could have moved quicker once we got the noir background go. Pop something up.
Yeah, I think like Rob said, a voiceover really would have helped it. If the voiceover would have said whatever was on that, because I didn't even read it. Whatever was on that first block of text, in a world where such and such, if that would have, that could have done it for me. That little voiceover, might have saved the day. But like Ben said, the music setting, I mean that's cool and everything, but you got to hook folk. You got to hook people. You're muted, Rob.
That stupid mute button today. So this is really an example of why we're switching the format, because we've seen, because you're going to see these different things. Some people are like Danny said, he's not even really watching videos. So you screw up the title, you've lost him. You screw up art. I know Mike is big with art. Mike will look at art, and I've had to tell him, no, just look past the first thing you saw, look at it more. And you can't make those mistakes, because when you make those mistakes, you're kind of ruining it for yourself, So here's our second one and our last one for the night. Believe it or not, here it is. Quicksand. This is on until the 30th. It's Quicksand 1 and 3. This is from Jonathan Hedrick, who also did the recount this year through Scout Comics. And the tagline is the next 2 issues of sci-fi horror miniseries created by Jonathan Hedrick. I promise I wasn't picking on Jonathan when I said the thing about a name in a title, but if you don't know who Jonathan is, you don't know. And I know I think they said they're trying to make a Hollywood deal for this, and that might make sense once the TV show comes out. I know Jonathan, but I don't know how recognizable his name is right now. I don't know if that matters. What do you guys think? Because I don't learn anything from this, and I know that there's a lot going on. This doesn't teach me anything. What do you guys think?
Well, I agree. Again, Jonathan Hedrick is known to people who know him, but really, you can already sell to those people. They're on your fucking mailing list and stuff. So really, shouldn't this be about trying to sell to the people who don't know you? So, yeah, I think putting the name in there, and that, it's sci-fi horror. So what else is going on? Like, tell us something. Give us something. This, if you use this pitch at, and actually I had a similar pitch for my novel as this at my table, and I sold fucking nothing. And then I sat down and I went, no, this needs a real pitch. I wrote out and worked on a real pitch, started pitching it, and started selling books. You want to sell books? Give this a real pitch, because that's nothing.
I can get down with that. What Chuck said. I think it doesn't say, the art is nice, but it doesn't say much about anything. It doesn't tell you anything unless you've read the first one. The next 2 is, unless you read the first one, I guess you don't know anything about this. But I think for us comic book creators, we know that you gotta you gotta give it back to them every issue. You gotta reintroduce everything every time. So I mean, especially when it comes to Kickstarters, you gotta rehook people, especially even the people that you already sold the first couple books to. Sometimes you gotta kind of reintroduce them to, hey, remember this is Ace Blade. He's a Vegas vigilante. You got to give them that basic stuff in the little blurb there. And this one doesn't say too much. I do like the name of it. I like the name Quicksand. I mean, I guess Quick is in there, so
now
I
Chuck
might be biased.
Yeah, you might be just a little. Chuck had hit on something so powerful that we talk about on this show. You come to Kickstarter to get a bigger audience, and some creators start forgetting that. Because if you just could do it with an email list, you just do it with an email list. You're coming here because you want to build a bigger audience, and you don't want to forget that. And I'm not saying he needed to do this. I think he's funded. He's probably doing fantastic. Again, this isn't to pick on him. This is literally because I know new creators are looking at this, and I know Brian Polito. You go look at what Brian Polito's doing. He doesn't put his name in a lot of the stuff. A lot of times his name's not even there. He doesn't need his name there. And sometimes he'll put it in. So I guess it depends on how he's marketing. But he's a household name in the industry now.
Well, and you know what? If he included his name with a pitch, I wouldn't even be mentioning the name. I wouldn't give a shit. But really, at the end of the day, the biggest seller that is in that sentence is his name. So if you don't know him, it doesn't mean anything. Telling me that you have a sci-fi horror, there's 1,000 sci-fi horrors out there. I don't give a shit. Like what is so horrible, like horrifying about it? What is so intriguing and exciting about it? Tell us something. But literally, the best thing that was in that was his name. And if you don't know his name, then there was nothing of substance there whatsoever. And I say that with all love, as he has been a client of mine, but still.
All right, so Ben, Ben or Mike, do you have anything to say on this?
Yeah, I'm a little less enthusiastic about the Quicksand name. I mean, if it was a name like Vampire Hunter, you could argue you don't really need much of a pitch, because anybody who sees the name Vampire Hunter kind of knows what they're getting. Quicksand's kind of meaningless. I mean, is it a quicksand monster, or is it a metaphor for being stuck in life, or what? So that alone kind of, if the name were more descriptive, you could get away with what they've got here, but it's not. It's kind of generic, action kind of name.
And Mike?
I actually have to say, on the other side, Quicksand actually intrigues me, especially the way it's done. The actual sand looks like it's sinking.
Oh yeah, the image is kind of cool there.
Like it's been snapped. I know it doesn't say much, but it has a movie tone to it, because movies have, if it's 3 issues, so it's almost a graphic novel. So, but they really should give us a lot more pitch than saying Jonathan Hedrick, because nobody knows him. It's like I wouldn't put Mike Seeley is doing his thing, and it's like what, my 50 people that know me, and that's all. I'm looking to try to get more people
Mike
that
Seeley?
know who my story is. Yeah. So.
Get the fuck out of town. The Mike Seeley? Oh shit, I'm in. I'm in. And you know what? I'll pay for an autograph too.
I'm not THE yet. You can't add the THE on me. I'm just Mike Seeley right now. I'm working to
the real Mike Seeley.
Take a screenshot now, Chuck, so you can show you're on the same show with him.
Real quick.
My gosh.
Real quick, because we're running out of time, and I want everyone to say where you're from. The image. Personally, I think it's too busy. I think that it is a cool logo, but for this, it doesn't tell me anything about the story. It doesn't show me anything. It leaves me more confused. Like, who are those characters? Why are they important? Who are the names up there? Are those the creators' names? Are those the characters' names? I know different, but I'm pointing out something that I could see. And again,
static image.
Yeah, issues 1 through 3. Do I have to get all 3 images? Do I have to get all 3 books now? Is this a trade? Is this collected? That it's not very clear to me. It leaves me with backer pause, believe it or not, because I don't know what I'm backing now, and it's confused me. And you don't want to confuse a person, because as most of you probably realize, when someone gets confused, they realize, fuck it, this is too hard.
Yeah.
You're like, fuck it, I'm just going outside.
I've dealt with it.
I'll wait till it hits the comic book shop. I can't tell you how many times I've talked to fans who say, I'll just wait till it hits my local comic book shop, not knowing that the average person doesn't know what Diamond is. The average person doesn't know what Kickstarter is or Indiegogo. Every one of you in this room has had to walk a friend through signing up for Kickstarter, get there on Facebook without a problem. They found a way to get it on Amazon, but Kickstarter is too hard for them. So that image, what do you guys think really quickly around the room? Chuck, did it hit or miss?
Missed. It was too static. It didn't speak or say anything to me. Sorry, man.
Ben?
Yeah, I would have gotten rid of the background faces, and I would have had the woman. Yeah, I mean, is that thing she's carrying a weapon? Is it an archaeological artifact? She should be, wielding it in some way. I mean, showing us what it does. Maybe
at least she's not humping it, because that's the big pop.
Well, I was thinking shooting it or
that's action.
Whatever.
That's
whatever
action.
Comes
at least
out of it comes out of it.
Mike, hit or miss?
If she was humping it. There's a market for that.
Yeah, that would be a different kind of Kickstarter.
He would probably have more backers right now, but that is more. It's like I feel like he was trying to go with like a movie feel. It doesn't really say a lot to me. Doesn't relate to Quicksand. It doesn't look like a horror miniseries or sci-fi. Besides that stick she holds in her hand, the big stick behind her back.
Danny, what do you think? Hit or miss?
I think I could rock with it. I think she gives off more of a Tomb Raider vibe than a sci-fi horror vibe. So that is very conflicting, but just off of the image, I would click it and check out more, I think.
The art's good.
All right, guys. So before we go, I want everyone to see where they're going, but I have to take care of some housekeeping for the show. I do want to say that Cat Dad and Supermom will be back this January. I'm getting the official release date in together, but Mike Seeley in this room is going to do something I've never done before. We're making the cover an actual coloring book. That's right. You will be able to color the cover of this comic book. Making 100, that's something Kickstarter does in January, so we're going to be doing something cool. It's going to be, we'll see how it turns out, but I'm excited. I love Mike's art, so we'll see what happens. I think it'll be really cool, especially the idea that we have coming out to you. The awards are back. That's right. You guys should all be nominating yourselves. It's a great way to get traction. This year, we decided not to go in person because we're just not there yet. So it'll be a virtual show in March. Stay tuned for more. But for now, nominate your stuff and get it out there. And make sure to get your copy of Comic Book School Panel 1 and Panel 2 at comicbookschool.com. Make sure you get your copy for this holiday season to sit through Christmas conversations with the family talking about politics. Instead, on your phone, read Creator Connections. All right, around the room, where can they follow you? The best place. For me, follow me at MrAnderson.com. Chuck?
I am Chuck Pino, Pineau. You can find me there on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter. You can find at Chucky Pin. And, of course, you can always find my Chuck's Raw reviews on YouTube.
Hey, I'm Ben Lacey. You can find me at bitingcomics.com, where you can get issue 1 of my comic book for free, along with my Paper Shark toy template and a bunch of other free stuff. I've also got a contest going on. Can I get you to show that, by the way? My second annual Shark of War Christmas Sharktacular is going on now. 2 whole days left to get your entry in. Lots of cool prizes. I always do. I've done, this is my second one for Christmas. I also do them around Shark Week. This time I'm focusing on my comic books, but I'm also giving away, a cool little wire wrapped shark tooth that you can make a necklace. Oh, sorry. Go.
Annie.
It's at the Ace Blade on all social medias, and my website is 44pros.com.
Mike.
MikeSeeley.com, SEALIE.com, and also the Eclipse Comics, where you can find it on Facebook. You can also find it on Instagram, EclipseComics.com.
Continuumcomics.com. And
Continue, where we're publishing. We got big things planned for the new year.
Yeah, two things before we go. First, we'll be back in January with this show's format. Thank you all for helping me tell everyone about the new format. Really excited about that, too. And this one especially goes to Danny J. Quick. Don't you dare fucking ruin Spider-Man. I'm talking to all of you. Keep your mouth shut for at least a week.
I'm going to see it tomorrow. I'll be in your inbox by 9 o'clock tomorrow. Don't worry about it.
I'll be seeing it for the second time
Friday night.
All right. Calm down. Finally, Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. Here's to better next year than we had this year. Let's all get back to making comics and getting them out there. Fuck the noise. Don't let hate take you over. Rise above it all and be the positive influence around you. Happy holidays, everyone. We'll see you in